What's going on, my lane ones? It's your boy MoashDMC back again, baby. And today we're going to be talking about the SBS because as of recently, the One Piece community is up in arms about one particular section. So I just wanted to go over it and actually read the other sections because of that one section, I haven't really got to dive deep into the other one. So without further ado, I ain't going to waste your time. Let's get right into the video. As you can see, we have some other things to talk about besides SBS 105, but let's just read it from top to bottom, going right into it because this is involving Zoro's lineage. A thing that everyone had a question about, a thing that everyone wanted to be expanded upon in Wano, a thing that everyone had questions about because Zoro had relations, possibly, to Wano. One sword style with Ryuma, two sword styles with Uchimaru, three sword style with Zoro. Zoro sort of looking like Uchimaru, Zoro being a one-handed swordsman like Ryuma. The list goes on, and now we finally have an SBS talking about said lineage. Reading from the top, there are many questions regarding Zoro's bloodline. I don't think there's any need to elaborate on it further, so I will announce it here. Sorry, my reading level is really high, but right now I'm really tired, so bear with me. I may struggle, but we're gonna get through it step by step. Flag at the top, right around here, we see Zoro's family tree. 55 years ago, Shimotsuki Kozaburo, this right here, created Emma. It was a present when Odin was 4 years old. Imagine giving a sword that just draws out the haki of a user to a 4-year-old. Odin was Himothy, for sure. With 25 people, he set sail from Wano, including Ushimaru's older sister, Furoku, and carpenter Minatomo. Interesting. So my man fled Wano, because, why? There's no point in staying there, and left with not only himself, Ushimaru's older sister, so Ushimaru, the daimyo we met later on in Yamato's backstory, and Furoku, a carpenter Minatomo. 52 years ago, they saved the village from a group of bandits in the East Blue. 10 members settled here and established Shimotsuki Village. Hey man, the bandits, it's funny because like bandits are run rampant in the East Blue, and essentially the Don was a bandit, basically the bandits that attacked Luffy early on. So a lot of time the bandits are basically setting up the story for us. So bandits, keep doing your thing. Timeline note, I'm about to show the family tree. I'm going to go from row by row, so this is not how you were supposed to read it properly. If there's an X between the two names, they are married to each other according to the tree. Okay, I don't know if this is what that was, but maybe that was just like the talking about the bandits. But I wish I knew Japanese, but I don't. So we're just gonna go on the top of my note. That's what the author told us, or the translator told us. So we're just gonna go with it. Shimotsuki Kozaburo, ex village girl. So right here, we don't really get to see her, but we get to, it's an outline. Shimotsuki Furoku, ex-village swordsman, Zoro's grandfather, Roronoa Pinzoro. Nice. Okay. I wonder what the reason for it being Pinzoro, like if Pinzoro has like some type of meaning. I don't really know myself, but it'd be really interesting if it actually did. So we have Kozaburo marrying a village girl, Shimotsuki Furoku, ex-village swordsman, Zoro's grandfather, Zoro Pinzoro. And then when we go down, Kozaburo being the father of Shimotsuki Koshiro, ex-unnamed person, and who died. Unnamed person who died in battle with pirates. And then the village daughter... Hold on. Shimotsuki Koshiro, unnamed person. Battle with pirates, ex-criminal's daughter, Terra, died of illness. Okay, so I think this is the unnamed person in the battle of pirates, because there's two X's. So, wait, no. I'm reading it completely wrong. Here it is. Koshiro, ex-unnamed person, and then we skip over to Roronoa Arashi, died in the battle of pirates, ex-criminal's daughter, Terra. So her name is Terra, and she died of an illness. There we go. So, Roronoa Arashi, and then an unnamed criminal's daughter, that was the parents of Zoro. Koshiro, and an unnamed person was a daughter of Kuina. Yep, Shimotsuki Kuina, accidental death, Waruchimonji falling on the stairs, and then Roronoa Zoro learned the phrase snatch you from Kozaburo himself. So basically, this is almost showing that there is relation with Zoro and Ryuma, which everyone was like, yeah, he definitely has to have some type of connection with him. And here we have it. Ushimaru, older sister Furoku. Furoku got married to a village swordsman who had Roronoa Arashi. So essentially, Zoro is, yes, related to Ushimaru, and yes, related to Ryuma. I don't know if he's his great-great-great uncle or great-great-great-great-great-great uncle. Somehow, some way, they're in relation. But I like how each generation, after each generation, another sword is added. Ryuma is 1 sword, Ushimaru is 2 swords, Zoro is 3 sword. So I wonder if Arashi I wonder if Arashi was 2 swords or 1 sword, but it's interesting that Ryuma was definitely 1. Ushimaru was definitely 2. Ushimaru's daughter. We don't actually know if she was. Oh wait, Ushimaru's sister. Excuse me. Ushimaru's sister was a 1 sword, 2 sword, 3 sword style fighter. We don't know if the swordsman that she got married to was 1 sword or 2 swords. So yes, we have some more questions, but those questions aren't really that important. And it's very interesting that we did actually know for a fact, stapled in the story, that Zoro is definitely related to Ryuma. And it's really interesting that Kozaburo created Enma. Enma ended up in Zoro's hands, while Ichimonji in Zoro's hands, and even the why can't I remember Zoro's 3rd sword? I'm having such a fake. The Sandai Katetsu is also in Zoro's hands, made by Teguyama, or Odin's father. And then there's one more thing at the end. Oda, the younger brother of Shimotsuki Furoku, who was on the ship that set sail from Wano and who encountered so-and-so during Yamato's childhood, was Shimotsuki Ushimaru. Okay. Yeah, so they're basically just saying that the Daimyo of Ringo was basically Ushimaru that we met. Was Shimotsuki Ushimaru, a former Daimyo of Ringo and the descendant of Wano's mythical samurai, Shimotsuki Ryuma, whom Zoro met back at Thriller Bark? In other words, what does this all mean? This is a strange and mysterious story of the fate that even Zoro himself does not know yet. So basically, Zoro fought his great uncle and smoked him, and then hasn't met his basically got the get back for his great uncle with Ushimaru defeating King and helping Luffy and aiding Luffy to take down Kaido. It's very interesting to see. Zoro's lineage is finally revealed. Some people would like it to have been revealed inside, like within the story, which technically it is possible that it could have been, but at the same time, like, it's not too bad that it wasn't, you know, like it doesn't have to be a situation where he like a whole chapter is put aside for it. There were some implications when they were like, I think it was Hyogoro and Kawamatsu were talking about how the fate must be like, it must be fate because basically another One Iron Swordman is coming back to like relive the dream, or basically help see the dream through, that basically all of Wano have been trying to do for quite some time, ever since Ryuma passed, and then we have Ushimaru and the other daimyo of Wano and Odin XYZ, and then the sword of Odin ended up in his hand. Like, there's so many implications to fate and tied to Zoro and Wano that I really think it's really interesting. I don't see it being the end of Zoro and Wano. I think Zoro does end up going back to Wano somehow, some way. Maybe not even end of series, like before the end of the series, like maybe like him gathering the samurai to fight in the final war is gonna happen. Maybe get like a little month or week training arc, like, yo, listen, I know you guys are strong, but you guys ain't strong enough for what's about to happen. You know, who knows? It's One Piece. Anything can happen. All right, moving on from Zoro. Zoro related to Ryuma and Ushimaru, the generations of 1, 2, 3. Sandai Katetsu, I think, is the 3rd generation. I think the Sandai Katetsu is the 3rd generation of Katetsu blades, and then it's just interesting that it's called the only person. It's ended up in Zoro's hands too. So like, a lot of it just ties right into Zoro being the 3rd generation and being tied to Ryuma and Ushimaru. So I like the fact that we get confirmation now. Could have been done in the story, yes. Not too upset that it wasn't, but we move. Okay. Sticking on the side of lineage, we're going to go right into talking about someone else that we finally know their lineage, and that is one Otama. I didn't actually read this one yet, so this is actually new to me, so you're reading it the same time I'm reading it. So the reader's question is, you can see the word Kurozumi on the gravestone of Otama's parents here. Okay. Here, and Tama-chan was born in the same clan as Orochi, who followed the path of revenge because of the discrimination towards the Kurozumi. Does this depict the hope for the future, just like Koala contrasts according? I think that's actually a great question. To be honest, I would really love if I was actually able to like submit a question to Oda, because I think I have a couple, but neither here nor there. But essentially, it's saying that now that we know that Otama was born to the same clan as Orochi, and they were being like basically not even segregated, just literally hunted down to be killed. The fact that she not only aided Wano, but at the same time she's like completely like separated from everything that happened with Orochi and the Kurozumi clan. Could it be a situation where Koala and Cordy, like how like fishmen and humans, and how the Kurozumi and the rest of Wano can actually interact again? And Oda says, so you notice that small detail, huh? I will say this here: Otama's real name is Kurozumi Otama, but should she be hated? Question mark. In the last scene, he already clearly said, I completely forgot about that scene because I did a plethora of videos about it. So let's see what he has to say. He already clearly said the Kurozumi was born to burn. Was Tama also being addressed here? No, she's not. If you look at her story, I can't tell if it's period or comma. You look at her story, you will understand that Hiyori was only referring to Orochi. Okay, understandable. That also makes sense because literally the only interaction with Kurozumi, I would assume, was Orochi and everything Orochi did to Wano and her father, XYZ. I wonder how everyone present will react if they find out that Otama is from the Kurozumi family. In the past and even now in the present, this is still a big problem in our society. Yes. So, yeah. Yes, I definitely understand that because she's still tied to Kurozumi. It makes sense that, oh my gosh, like this person is still part of the family, and after everything, the hunt to take down the Kurozumi was not just like was not just directed to like Orochi's grandfather and just like that. It was literally if you were anything Kurozumi, even if we're in a play doing our job, being law-abiding citizens, you're catching these hands. Like it was everyone. So if Otama does come out that she is a Kurozumi, I know some people have to know she is, like maybe Tenguyama or maybe he knows. What's gonna happen? And I just hope that the story of how she literally saved everyone on Onigashima, being able to control the Beast Pirates, basically making them allies and turning the tide of the war almost completely on its head, became a thing. I just hope that everyone's like, you know what? You ain't too bad, man. You know, like, I know like, basically most of your clan is bad, but like you ain't too bad. And she's like a young girl. Like, why are you gonna persecute a young girl? You know, like come on, turn the left cheek, man. All right, and then we move on to another lineage talking about everyone's favorite cook, Sanji. And it was a question about his eyebrows. So, like I said, it's my first time reading it, so it's going to be your first time seeing it too if you haven't seen it yet. Question. In chapter 1031 of volume 102, Sanji's eyebrows were reversed, but in chapter 1044 of volume 103, they returned back to normal. Why did they change back to normal? Interesting question. Like, did Sanji revert? Did he get his German gene just in that moment because of the raid suit, or did it go back? That's what he has to say. Oh, Oda says, you have a good eye. Indeed, Sanji's eyebrows changed. Going back to the Whole Cake Island arc, Sanji's siblings were each born with superhuman abilities and a strong exoskeleton due to the manipulation of their lineage factor. However, due to his mother's interference, Sanji was born a normal human. Let's take a look at his siblings' eyebrows now. Okay, so let's take a look at his siblings' eyebrows now. Looking at this, all the eyebrows are like Yonji 6'6". Sanji's are a complete opposite though. However, his latent power of science manifested in the wake of his fight due to the raid suit, which already gave him an abnormal resistance to heat in the past. It was a mystery before, but now it has finally makes sense. Let's continue to watch over him in the future. I like this because it's a very ambiguous answer because it didn't really say that Sanji like still has the power or has reverted. So it's really interesting to see how everything with Sanji plays out. Because if his gene basically with his answer, he's saying like his genes did awaken because of the raid suit, but did they awaken and then revert, or did he like only get like a partial amplification, right? Because they reverted, right? Because his eyebrow went back to normal, you can look at it a few ways. And obviously, we're not really getting complete answers right here, but you can look at it a few ways. You can look at that his genes awakened and then they got suppressed again. Or you can look at it almost like Sanji having a form. Essentially, like, if he, like, say he never uses the raid suit again, which would be really interesting. I think he may, or at least somehow the raid suit comes back into the story involving the Straw Hats, maybe Usopp, maybe Frankie. Who knows? I'm not gonna go too deep into that. But let's say he's able to tap into the Germa genes whenever he wants, because like right now you can say his exoskeleton is just there, like he has it now, like it grew over, like it's very hard to to repress an exoskeleton, right? It's very interesting. So like I don't know how that's going to play out, but let's say the reason why his eyebrows reverted was because Sanji essentially is still Sanji, right? And like when they switched the first time, that's just him unlocking his genes, so now he has it. But at the same time, the reverse eyebrows are still showing that he's still different than his other brothers. Like their brothers' emotions are completely tapped out, like they don't got nothing. But because of the interference with Sora basically taking the drug and then Sanji coming out a normal human, maybe Sanji's still a normal human, but with all the buffs of the German soldiers or his siblings. So essentially, you can look at it two ways. Like either Sanji can tap into it whenever he wants, and that's when his eyebrow switches again, or because his eyebrows switch back to normal, that he just has it point blank period. He has exoskeleton, he has the speed, he has a free drawn break, all that stuff at all times, and that he still has his emotions, just sort of like showing the difference between the two. So we can look at it both ways, but until we actually see Sanji get another serious fight and actually see him take damage that may break his like, it's very interesting because we're not really gonna know if he has an exoskeleton unless two things happen. One, Sanji says, oh wow, I don't really feel pain because of the exoskeleton, thank you, Judge. Or like he gets like a leg broken and he's like, damn, and then puts it back to normal. But we don't really know how it's gonna play out. And then essentially like it could be a situation where he does use a raid suit again and then it unlocks him again and then helps him unlock his genes again, and then like his emotions start to get altered a little bit. But it's really interesting to see because like Oda's not really getting a definite answer right here, but his eyeballs being switched and going back could mean unlock the Germa genes, but he's still Sanji. Like I think that'd be a great way to explain it. He got his genes just like his brothers, but at the end of the day, he's not like his siblings. He's still everyone's beloved Sanji. But it's also another interesting thing to ask about. I like how most of us thought about it. Many people made theories about it, but we'll see. We won't really get an answer until we see Sanji fight again seriously. And we have a couple components. We have the Seraphim fighting. We have Sidon. We have the Marine showing up. We have Kizer. Like It may happen very soon. All right, then we have this talking about what's his name? Oh, Tensai. Okay, can't remember his name right now. Couldn't remember his name. But who was the model of Kuruma Tensai, the director of the Marine Criminal Investigative Service that appeared in Chapter 1054? Who's the model? I thought you were saying like model of the devil fruit originally. I was like, damn, you're gonna give us the devil fruit right away. But I'm guessing it's like talking about like who was he based off of. The model for Tensai is an actor named Kobayashi Akira. This just passed in my mind, but somehow I realized that I've made almost every legendary actor as a high-ranking executive in the Navy. But aren't they all black-haired? ? Are they? Of course, this didn't happen. But this didn't happen. But at first, I didn't plan for Ryokogyu to have black. What? I didn't plan. Okay, maybe this is translation a little bit off. I didn't plan for Ryokogyu to have black-haired. Okay, I know I wasn't crazy. I have to read real slow to make sure I wasn't crazy. I didn't plan for Ryokogyu to have black-haired. As you know, Battles Without Honor and Humanity is a kind of Bible movie for me. As you know, Battles Without Honor and Humanity is kind of my Bible movie for me. In that movie, Akira and Kuroma talks very casually, and it's very exciting to me when I watched it. They are cool. They're so cool. I mean, the translation's a little off right now, but I guess I'm saying that like he modeled it off of the actor Kobayashi Akira, and essentially like how basically all the black-haired executives are the high-ranking Navy executives have black hair, and then I think Tensai or Kuroma is like the black horse or something like that. And then, as you know, Battles Without Honor and Humanity is kind of my Bible movie for me. I haven't seen the movie, so I guess he's talking about a real movie here. In that movie, Akira, Akainu, and Kuroma. Oh, okay. So I'm assuming he's talking about the actors, and those are the actors' names in the movie. In that movie, Akainu and Kuroma talk very casually, and it's very exciting to me when I watched it. They were so cool. Okay, so basically he's saying he took it directly from that movie, sort of the scene when Tensai and Akainu was actually talking about everything that was going on. Post the revelry with the Holy Knights also getting involved, and the assassination attempt at the Gorosei member, not Gorosei, the Celestial Dragon, Charlos, and then Mjolnir possibly got involved too somehow, some way. But okay, that makes sense. Like basically, he's basing Tensai off another actor, and how the actor and Akainu in that Akainu and Kuroma in that movie interacted. He sort of recreated that interaction again in the manga himself. Okay, I like it. It's cool, like, you know, like taking inspiration from things you enjoy. It's pretty dope, honestly. Me as an up-and-coming author who hasn't written anything yet but wants to write something, I take notes. But interesting little snippet about Tensai or Kuroma or the Black Horse or the Criminal Investigative Service, the director of the Marine Criminal Investigative Service. But I mean, nice little snippet. Does he get involved in the main story? Who knows? Because we still have, maybe interesting to see him getting involved, but also Kong. So it sort of adds like two other powerhouses essentially to the Marines that we haven't really seen fight. That could actually be stronger than admirals or in that realm of an admiral, but who knows? And then we have, I think this was the other thing that I actually did see of the SBS, and this is actually why I have the two other sections. We have Zoro top, SBS section, just read through them, and this is actually going to get us into the next segment of this video, which you may enjoy. Okay, SBS, One Piece SBS Volume 105. Good day. I really love One Piece, and I've heard Wano arc has ended. Because it's so sad that the people in Wano that eat failed devil fruit it's a little off again. Is keep laughing. Can you make Chopper heal them before he depart? It's so sad to see Killer is always laughing too. I hope you well. Oda Sensei from M. Hiromi. Okay. So basically, Oda replies basically saying like he wants Chopper to heal the small devil fruit to people of Wano, as well as Killer because he's always laughing as well. And remember, because of the backstory with Victoria Punk dropping the curry, laughed at her, then Victoria Punk ended up dying. Killer hated his laugh. People made fun of him. Whoever made fun of his laugh got completely smoked by them on site. So sort of playing into the backstory of Killer with the devil fruit being eaten, and then we're gonna talk about Oda's response right now. Hello, thank you for the nice message. It's very sad for a kid to keep laughing even if his parents die, right? But unfortunately, Chopper didn't have the ability to make that kind of drug. In this world, there's some things that you can't do anything about, and the story is one of that. Again, the translation is a little bit off. In this world, there's some things that you can't do anything about, and this story is one of that case. But I'm laughing because Killer keeps laughing, and it made the whole kid crew decided to become a joyful pirates band. which is really big. And the thing is, like, him dropping it in the SBS, when I read this, I was like, hold on, this changes so much. A joyful pirates band. It's so nice there's a joyful people, even in a hard situation. I believe in the strength of people from Wano. So this is a couple implications. One, Chopper didn't have the knowledge to alter the lineage factor of people who got their lineage factor altered by smiled arrow fruit or the failed smiled arrow fruit. And I like the fact that he wasn't able to cure it. I did make a couple of videos talking about how Chopper, alongside maybe like some of like Queen's not Queen's help, but like essentially like Queen's like work, if you were to find it, and as well as maybe taking something from Sanji himself because of the whole interference of with Zoro basically sort of nullifying the effects of the changed emotions with Sanji. And if Chopper was to get his hands on all those things, he may be able to make a drug before he left Wano. But I also like the idea that Chopper doesn't know everything, and Chopper's not going to be quick to solve everything. So that sort of leaves like the door open for Chopper to learn more and to attain more information from other people. And here we are in an arc in Egghead Island with the man who knows everything about lineage factor, the man who knows how to recreate devil fruits. And then, you know, Chopper learns a thing or two and possibly goes back to Wano and does actually end up saving them. But at the same time, I can also see the picture of like, see the scene that like, say Wano is not opened, right? And say Wano is eventually opened. And then they just become the land of the happy people, right? Before they were oppressed and they were just laughing because they couldn't do anything but laugh. But at the end of the war, when everything was happening, they were partying for so long, they were all truly happy. And it could be a situation where now as Momonosuke, as a shogun, that they're just like really always happy, and they become the land. Or like it's like just how Sky Island was like a myth to people. Like Wano was like this far land of samurai who live in the far ends of the sea, who always laugh and are always cheerful, and they're always having a great time. And you gotta go see it. They're always smiling. They're always laughing. It's really insane. Everyone seems so happy, but don't be mistaken. Even though they're smiling, there's still this powerful force there's still this powerful force known as the samurai. You know, like something like that, and that's how I got with at the end. I believe in the strength of the people of Wano, because maybe they just hold out until Chopper heals them, or maybe they just make best of the worst situation, which they've been doing for so long, and they just always keep laughing because now they have something to laugh and smile about. But that's neither here nor there. But the big thing I want to talk about right now is a joyful pirates band, and that's going to lead me into the last thing I want to talk about is the Kid Pirates. And the thing is, I like how the SBS drive right after we see the interaction between Kid and Shanks, because the Kid Pirates are up next. Like everyone was bashing the Law Pirates, and I was like, listen, I don't think the Law Pirates are as bad as people think. And here we had a chapter of them actually showing out against the Blackbeard Pirates. And then everyone's saying the same thing right now. Kid Pirates are really nothing besides Kid and Killer, and then it's Shanks. Like, what are you gonna do against Shanks? I mean, obviously, it's still like an insurmountable force, but at the same time, like, hey, you never know. Like, Wire and Heat may do a thing or two, and I forgot the names. Obviously, I would have really drew the names of all the other Kid Pirates. But at the same time, like, you never know, they may show out as well. I mean, even though it's against Shanks, his fleet, his crew, and the Giants, like, you never know. You never know. And I like the idea that Oda added a joyful pirates band, because essentially two of the biggest things about Kid and Killer was that if Killer laughed and everyone made fun of their laugh, like Killer and Kid, like I said, smoke on point. And essentially, like, after Victoria Punk was killed, like, Kid basically got all the rival gangs together to form one group, and they went to get revenge, but then they ended up forming their own pirate crew from that. And now them becoming a joyful pirates band. Remember, Victoria Punk was the reason why they punk rotten, but at the same time, they still have a very, like, their aesthetic is still very tied to, like, a punk rock band, you know? And I think them being a joyful pirates band sort of just changed the undertone of how Kid and Killer are seen. And it could be a situation where Kid is still very much still a hothead, but the fact that you call him a joyful pirates band may change the overall outlook of the Kid Pirates. Maybe they go around playing music, obviously, maybe not. But at the same time, like, before, the thing with Kid and the reason why he had a higher bounty with 315 million, I believe, higher bounty than Luffy, was because they just smoked civilians. Like, they didn't really treat civilians with respect. It could be a situation where the news was pretty much altered, like how Luffy and the Strats were always, like, their image was always altered by the world government. Could be a situation where Kid was the same way. Like, we don't really necessarily know how he interacts with the civilians, but for what we saw in Wano, they were pretty much like cool. Like, they were pretty much cool with the civilians. They didn't really do anything to hurt them or anything. So I don't really know. And the only reason why Killer was doing it is because essentially, like, he had to. That was like he literally had to. He had no other choice. But let's go on talking about Killer's devil fruit. Because right now, yes, Killer did eat in this SBS volume said he ate a failed devil fruit. Orochi actually fed it to him, and he couldn't stop laughing, right? But from that also, From the explanation of small devil fruits, I've also came to the conclusion in my head, and also like reading the context clues, I was like, when you really think about it, those devil fruits operate completely differently than other devil fruits, right? Because you could bite into that devil fruit, and then other people can bite into that devil fruit and still attain the negative drawbacks from a devil fruit, being able to not swim, be affected by water, and then having to smile and laugh all the time, even if you're in pain. So a situation where that devil fruit does not operate as the same as a normal devil fruit, and because of that, I know that you can eat multiple of those devil fruits and still be completely fine, because essentially they were eating the leftovers, and that's why they got the way they are. So if that's the case, right, I think the reason I'm having in my head is like, I don't think that Otis, obviously Killer is going to end. If Chopper or Vegapunk make a cure, they're going to be able to essentially if they make a cure, right, then obviously Killer's going to be one to take the cure as well. But it could be a situation where I don't think Otis is going to give Kill the drawbacks of a devil fruit without necessarily giving him a devil fruit, right? And I'm not saying the failed smile is going to actually manifest and actually create a devil fruit, which may be a situation too. It's two sides of, like, there's two things I want to talk about. Killer possibly manifesting a devil fruit within the devil fruit he had, like, because of Vegapunk's explanation, it could be a situation where Killer's desire is much stronger than we realize. I'm not saying he has Conqueror's Haki. It'd be interesting if he does, but I don't think he does. I mean, Killer does, but he doesn't. I mean, Kid does, but he hasn't really utilized it. Killer does. It sort of falls in line with many people when the right hand man, But I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole too far right now. But a situation where Killer could possibly manifest a devil fruit power without necessarily eating another devil fruit, and essentially like he would just be a devil fruit user, and it wouldn't be involved in the smile. It could be because of his own willpower and desire. But what I wanted to really mention is him eating another devil fruit. And I'm like, if he ate another devil fruit, would he fall under the same penalty that they were talking about all the way back on Water 7 or Ennie's Lobby, when Rob Lucci and basically Jabba were saying, like, if you eat another devil fruit, your body is just going to expand and explode. And I'm like, don't think that's the case, because it's a small devil fruit. It's an artificial devil fruit. Even though the effects are the same, the way they work is not the same, because one, they're failed. That there was no spirit in there. There was no like will in there. So like that's not the case. So it's different from that perspective. And if someone already bit it and then another person bit it and they still got the effects, that's the second thing that doesn't fall in line with normal devil fruits. So if he were to eat another devil fruit, what would it be, right? And that is the biggest thing, because I was thinking, right, everyone from Wano that was an active participant in Wano left Wano with something, whether it was a new move or they just showed more of what they were capable of. Killer got to, Sonic side against Kaido, Smoke, and Hawkins, but that's not really much, because Killer didn't do, after that was pretty much it for Killer against Kaido. And then Hawkins was like a very, very, it was an easy fight for him, but it was harder because of the whole situation with Kid. But what did Killer get from Wano? Like, Zoro got a new sword, Sanji got his jeans, Nami got Zeus, Chopper and Rumble Ball expanded a little bit more. I mean, the time you can use it increased a little bit more. Usopp, Usopp, we don't know what Usopp got yet. Frankie was able to beat a Toby Robo member. Law learned a little bit more about Haki. Obviously, Law also got an awakening that we see. Kid awakening, like Luffy conquers Haki, advanced armament, emission, eternal destruction, awakening. Like, all these people got something except for Killer. So Killer just like, Killer went to Wano and got completely screwed, chopped and screwed, just like his slice, right? Lost to Zoro, basically got to eat a devil fruit. Now he has to laugh all the time, and he hates his laugh. Like, what did Killer really get? And I'm thinking, in my mind, I'm like, okay, what makes the most sense for a devil fruit for Killer to get from the people that we know, from the devil fruits that we know of in Wano, right? First, I was like, maybe, all right, let's go down the list. First, I had Orochi, right? And I'm like, the aesthetic that Killer always had a mask on, and then the 8 heads, like, it would make it even more, like, annoying that he had 8 heads of always having the mask on. So, like, just him becoming like an 8-headed dragon, like, it could be pretty dope in the hands of someone like Killer rather than Orochi, but at the same time, like, even that seems too, meh, doesn't really fit him too much, right? And then I was thinking, okay, Kanjuro also died. I'm like, ooh, Killer is a man who like loves sound, and he's a pretty intelligent person, right? So you give him something like a devil fruit that you basically can create anything with paint, with ink, essentially. Not really paint, it's ink. And then obviously, Kanjuro supplemented that with his brush sheath. But I'm like, Killer being intelligent, Killer also being able to create anything would be really interesting, because then him fighting alongside Kid would be pretty dope, because now you can basically just paint metal, and then Kid just like can utilize it very easily, so that them two together would be a completely broken duo. And I'm like, you know what? That sounds pretty dope. Like, I like that idea. The Fude no Mi. Like, I don't, like, that'd be pretty dope. But at the same time, like, because he has like the Punishers, like when is he actually gonna have time to like do that kind of stuff? Like, maybe he can put the ink, like generate the ink on his Punishers and just like draw things out of the air, or maybe he can make a sound wave with the ink, and then the ink, like, basically him creating the sound wave is like him painting with the ink, and then that can create the structure or the substance, maybe, or the artwork, maybe. And I'm just keep thinking about him like that's pretty dope, and I actually like the concept, but is that really it, right? And I'm like, then I was thinking in my head, I'm like, what other person do we physically knew die, right? And then I'm thinking, I'm like, maybe Kaido? No, that wouldn't make sense. Dragon, Killer being a dragon, nah. Soul Fruit Killer, nah. I mean, he's almost like a Soul Reaper with his Punishers, that'd be pretty dope. But like, nah. That's not it. So I kept thinking, I'm like, you know what? There's one thing that came to mind, right? And it was, first it was his name. I think it was Kamazo Hitokiri. I think that's his name. Like Hitokiri, right? Hito meaning man, Kiri meaning mist. Then Kama and Zo. So Kama essentially is like the scythes, or like sickle or scythe, right? And I was like, okay. Obviously that just makes sense, because when he was like the masked manslayer, right, doing Orochi's bidding, like he was pretty, like, it makes sense that like he had those, like Kamazo Hitokiri or Hitori, Kamazo, like, it makes sense, right? So Kama, and then Zo part, I'm like, we know Zo, like Zo's the elephant, but Zo also means literally elephant. And then I'm thinking, okay, maybe his smile Devil Fruit could be like, maybe he finds another smile Devil Fruit of an elephant. I was like, no. That would make much sense. And then it popped in my head. I'm like, when Green Bull came to Wano and attacked Udon Prison, he smoked two of the calamities, Queen and King. But there was one missing, right? And that was Jack. And then it hit me. I'm like, would Oda really kill off Jack? And then I thought, yes, he would. Because remember, the newspaper already thought Jack was dead with the whole situation with Zo the first time. And it was a fake death because Jack was inevitably a fisherman, so he survived in the war until he was saved. But going forward, what implications does Jack have in the story, right? We have Queen with the whole mad situation, so that makes sense. We have King and an interaction with him and Joy Boy and possibly Kaido being alive, so then that makes sense. But besides that, Jack is a very expandable character. And you mean to tell me that Inarashi had to deal with being tied up, leg cut off, poison mist, hitting his entire colony, smoking everyone on Zo, and you mean to tell me he has a chance to take him out in Sulong and he doesn't do it? That's hard for me to believe after you just watch a man, Izo died, and Ashura died. You mean to tell me that you didn't get to get back on at least one of the calamities, or at least one of the people who did this to not only Wano, but also your home turf in Zo? Don't make sense. So then it dawned upon me that it would make sense from that foreshadowing of the name, Kamazo, sickle, scythe, elephant. And then I'm like, that is literally Jack. Jack had the two blades that are like sickles, that are like scythes, that fought not only against Inarashi and against Nekomamushi, but also against Ashura Doji, but also against them on the roof. And I think Killer with the Punishers is almost like a carbon copy of that. And then you also add the fact that he'd be like a mythical zone or an ancient zone, but he also ties directly into sound, and the ties directly to sound, but also the wisdom of elephants. And as you see, and every time you see Killer's always showing his expertise when it comes to not only thinking ahead, but also just how intelligent he truly is with telling people how to avoid Apu's attacks, telling Kid, yo, you're gonna being the level-headed one to tell Kid, yo, if you fight, you're not going to lose your arm, you're going to lose your life. But being the smart one to take off Hawkins' arm when he had the Kid doll, basically, and he was dealing all the damage to Kid. It just makes sense. I'm like, intelligent elephants tied to intelligence, Zo, side sickle, Zo, elephant. It all adds up. Because Killer is basically just that. But also, now you give Killer ancient zone, his durability increases, his power increases, his hybrid form would be pretty dope. His his beast form would be, I don't think it would be as big as Jack, because Jack was already a big human being. So it'd be really interesting. And then the elephant, when the elephant makes noises, like that would tie directly into Killer and how he uses sound to attack. So I'm like, it just fits that he would get Jack's devil fruit, and truly Kid would, and then truly Killer would be Kamazo. He would be a sickle wielding elephant. And I was like, it just makes sense. And then Hitori is like man in the mist. And I'm like, that was basically what he was. Like he was like a guy killing people in the shadows for Orochi. And then I'm like, that's sort of what Jack did. Jack sort of used this poison mist or this poison gas to like take out most of the people on Zoro to begin with. So I was like, hey, if you give Killer an ancient zone, I think that's what he got from there. Like, not only did he get, so like, he's not leaving Wano worse than he did coming into Wano, because essentially he has all the drawbacks of a devil fruit with no devil fruit, but now you give him a true devil fruit that sort of ties to a lot of what he does, or ties to a lot of what he is. It makes sense. And then you also have him having blonde hair just like Jack. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna roll with it. Give Killer Jack's devil fruit and we call it a day. And then we also have I can't remember. I literally can't remember off the top of my head right now. But when Law was basically talking about like what he's like, okay, so what's next? A hippopotamus. I can't remember if he mentioned an elephant too, because if he did, then it just ties in all that much better. But last but not least, we talk about Killer's devil fruit. I think it may be him obtaining Jack's devil fruit. But the last thing I want to talk about is Killer's bounty. Yes, we saw everyone's bounty at this point leaving Wano, except for, you know, most of Kid's crew. We got Laws, we got Luffy's, we got all the Straw Hats. So what would Killer's be, right? And I think because he played a part, and he's also the right-hand man of Kid, and he's also Supernova, Worst Generation, he's tying right in line with Kid, and then possibly getting Jack's devil fruit. I think Kid's bounty is going to land directly at 1 billion. And it just makes sense to give him that bounty too, because yes, he didn't really do much, but at the same time, he did fight alongside Kaido. He is the right-hand man of a captain who has a 3 billion bounty. So if we're going to keep it in the same realm of the Straw Hats, then obviously Zoro's at 1.111, Sanji's 1.03, I think Jinbei's 1.04. Can't remember the top of my head, but giving him a 1 billion bounty, yes, he'd be below all the 3 top tiers, of besides Luffy, the 3 top tiers of the Straw Hats, but it also tied directly in line with Jack's devil fruit, tied directly in line with his captain being a 3 billion berry bounty, and still showing that Killer is still a threat in the new world some way, somehow, that even if he was by himself without Kid, that he's a pirate that you should not mess with. And I think Jack was the first 1 billion berry bounty person that we actually got introduced to in the story physically. I mean, yeah, physically, he's the first 1 billion bounty, because Katakuri was after that with 1.03, I believe. But essentially, it just makes sense. Like, I like it. Give Killer Jack's devil fruit, give Killer's bounty, give Killer Jack's devil fruit, and give Killer Jack's bounty as well. And I think it rounds up. And I think, like, I mean, Joyful Pirates Band, like, people like elephants. You know, like, my reasoning isn't too solid, but at the same time, like, I think it all fits together really nicely. I did enjoy the fact that we got the SBS 105 talking about the Kid Pirate and talking about Killer's devil fruit ailments right before we get the interaction between Kid, Killer, Shanks, Ben Beckman, and the rest. But like I say at the end of every single video, bring me over to full screen, make my beautiful face take over your whole screen. Leave a like, leave a comment down below and tell me what you guys think. But also hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell button to come back next time. Remain enlightened, y'all, because get right, don't get left. And until next time, remain polished, y'all. Peace.